reopen with all the tabs.
Hello, everyone. We're live.
There's
We're
all
talking about
everybody.
Chrome extensions over here.
Because we're the coolest.
Yep.
Justin, sick gunners, bro.
Oh man.
No worry, bro.
I
mean,
some of us just have to wear real glasses, but that's cool.
These are real.
Those are good glasses.
Yeah, they were $15 on Amazon. Don't pay for gunners, folks. I used to show for gunners. They're $200. Go to Amazon, get you some $15 sunglasses that reduce screen glare.
And,
awesome.
But did they give you prescription?
Why would I need a prescription? My eyes are perfect. What do you mean? That would be insane for me to say, but what's the prescription on these? I don't need them. I have these great peepers.
Okay,
the last one. I'm
going to introduce everybody
out of the glasses club, so I wanted to make sure.
Introduce everybody on the podcast right now. I'm Hank Green. I make YouTube videos and a podcast called Delete This, and a podcast called Dear Hank and John, and also one called Creator Chats, the ICG Creator Chats, which is, just nobody listens to. We've also got Jeffrey Craner, one of the creators of Welcome to Night Vale, and all-around fantastic face, but terrible person. Justin McElroy, who is one of the McElroys. Sawbones, Adventure Zone. Joseph Fink keeps jumping in and out of the thing, but he's having technical difficulties. He's just a ghost. And so it doesn't seem like it's working. And Travis McElroy, also a McElroy, who has an HD webcam, which is looks really nice, and is a big fan of
Justin got it for me because he's great. He's a good brother.
That's nice. That's nice. What great brotherhood you guys have.
It is. I always notice especially wide though compared to everyone else's. I don't know why that. I always feel like it's a huge wide shot. I've got like 8 feet.
You could get closer. Me. Yeah, you have to clean way too much. The fact that mine shows a little bit of the floor is a huge disaster for me. I don't need you to see. I can't clean the floor.
Okay. That's fair.
I could angle it up, but then I'd be breaking the rule of thirds.
I am getting so many texts about my dad's fantasy football draft.
I muted them.
Travis, I don't know what to do. I deleted my Yahoo account. And the man's like, make sure you're there at 6 p.m. tonight. I can't, Clint. I deleted my Yahoo account. I haven't managed my team for 4 years. And somehow I'm still in this fucking league.
I texted him and I was like, Dad, am I still in that? Because I can't do it. And he wrote back, that's fine. And now I don't know if that's fine means he will remove me from it, or he'll just let whatever my avatar keep doing it or whatever.
With Brett Favre as your starting quarterback, you're going to be great.
So we've now entered into the part of the podcast where it's really just up to me to try and keep things on the rails, and I fail. And that took all of a minute and a half, but at least now I know where to get good prescription-free glasses. But also, if anybody wants to be on Clint McElroy's fantasy football league, it's happening now. Draft is going.
Coming on open spots.
Apparently, you need a Yahoo account though, so maybe one of you can pretend to be Justin.
Can I give you a quick Indiegogo campaign update, Hank?
Yeah, please hit it.
Totally. So we are currently at $118,239 of $300,000 goal. That's completely amazing. I think we can totally get to that 300,000. We have 13 days left. You should go now. I made a shortened link for it. If you want to go to bit.ly/McElroyPodcon2, you totally can. That so I can track all those sick clicks.
Yeah, how's it go? How's the clicking going? Can you tell?
Far, we got 400 clicks on McElroy Podcon 2.
Nice.
Hoping to get that up to a 6,000.
All right. I can also open it up and see who's backed since the stream started. For example, this person whose name I cannot pronounce has gotten the virtual attendance 1 minute ago. And I apologize for literally having no idea how to say that. Just I can't even start to try. But also recently, 19 minutes ago, Sam joined us, and Nicole will both be there. Sam and Nicole, if you're here, I'm very excited that you're coming. It may be that you know each other because you signed up within 30 seconds of each other, but if not, you should hang out anyway. Could anybody explain to me what PodCon is? Hey, Joseph.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
I think I got my computer to work. Can people
Good.
hear me?
We can.
Yes.
You don't need to be as close to your mic as you are.
Oh, okay. I don't really know how to use microphones or audio.
So PodCon is mainly about the technical side of making podcasts and audio. You come to us.
Yeah.
We're the artists.
We're
Yeah,
the artists.
It's all about hertz and bits.
And also something
BPS.
about the way the microphone faces and how the cone goes. I haven't
Right.
figured that out yet.
Sinusoidal, possibly.
Get out of here, nerd.
I just spent a week recording with John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats, and I believe, Hank, you're using an SM7 microphone, is what that looks
I
like?
am. That is, yes.
And
SM7B, I
John
believe.
hates SM7 so much that he refused to let the recording continue until all the SM7s in the room were replaced.
Fair.
You know what? I used to use an SM7B. I bailed on it. Can't use it anymore. Notice Joe Rogan uses them. I don't like how gain hungry they are. They need a lot of gain.
Yeah.
Very thirsty for gain. You got to get a
Because they're
cloud
like
lifter
the
on
only.
there.
Okay.
They're
Hank's,
like the only
Hank's
con-
laughing like we're making this up. No, Hank, it's
No.
real stuff.
It's
Oh,
only
yeah.
like studio condenser. Is that it? Like it's a condenser that
Real
behaves
thirsty
like
for
yeah.
gain.
Do you guys?
John's theory is that everyone sounds okay on an SM7, but it's impossible to sound better than okay on an SM7.
I would agree with that. Justin
and
and I use CAD E100S's, the voiceover professional microphone.
I'm
What?
using my MacBook microphone,
yeah,
so
right.
that's perfect.
I love it.
That's
I
all
mean,
see.
what I want everybody to know is that if I love that so much that I can sound good but not great. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, because then you have an excuse.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
like
That might
if I was trying that hard, then it would be embarrassing how bad I am at things.
Setting achievable goals is an important part of problem solving, I believe.
So what is PodCon? PodCon.
I thought we just answered that.
Kind of what we realized when we were discussing it is there's a lot of podcast conventions out there now, but they seem to either focus on being more of like a festival, so it's just a bunch of live shows, or it focuses on like the business, how to make money as a podcast, and very rarely does it focus on kind of the art side of it, like why you make podcasts. Like basically, rather than think about how to make money off a podcast, we focus more on like how to make a podcast you enjoy making and enjoy listening to. And
You know what? I feel like it's a celebration. I think it's a celebration of the
Mhm.
medium more than anything else. So at least in its ideal form, it is a celebration of people who make podcasts and people who like podcasts and people who want to get rich.
no,
No, hold on.
It's a stationary parade. Yes.
And also an added benefit that I kind of discovered last year was the side effect of focusing on the art and like making podcasts you love and podcasts you like listening to was the people that we invited and like the performers that we had were all like amazing people. Like just a little behind the scenes thing, like it's the first time I've ever been to a convention where everybody spent all of their free time in the green room, just like talking to each other. And like, because we joked that it was like summer camp for podcasters. And it was like a lovely experience, both like for attendees and performers. And like, very rarely do I walk away saying, I think I got more out of that than the people attending. And like, I love that.
You make so many connections. You know, I used to, there would just be tweets that, Joseph and Jeffrey would ignore from me, and now they can ignore the email. And it's like I know it's getting right to them. You know, that kind of biz dev marketing is huge. Or you can't get that anywhere else.
I have a long rubric of what I will even favorite on Twitter, so sometimes it just doesn't pass all the way through that. I think the thing about PodCon last year that was like it was like discovering so many cool shows.
Sure.
You know, a lot of podcast festivals are a thing where you sort of get a ticket to individual things that you want to see that you already know you like. So it was really interesting getting to pop in in this kind of like free form convention where you can go to a panel or go see a live show or things like that. So I got to see a lot of really, really cool shows I hadn't listened to before.
Yeah, and the fact that like I was there and of course couldn't go to all of the things that were happening that's like a bummer generally for events where I'm like, there's these two things that are happening at the same time and I can't go to both of them. But we did this thing that I thought was going to just be for people who couldn't be there physically at all. But it turned out that like because I heard something cool about something that happened at PodCon, I got to listen to the remote attendance afterward, because that's included whether you attend remote or attend as an actual person in real life, and got a podcast feed full of good PodCon stuff. That was really fun to listen to, and I felt like, boy, now I get to know better who all these people were that came to this event. So we have the other thing. Did any of you do a podcast Scramble? And
I did. Me and Roman Mars did the first episode of our Doomtree fan cast. Doomtree is a Minneapolis-based rap collective.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about this, Hank, but I think Roman and I are interested in recording episode 2 at PodCon 2. I think it's just going to be a podcast that happens one PodCon at a time.
That is kind of the plan for Travis and I's podcast, the Dadcast, which is going to happen twice a year. And maybe we will bring it back again.
Because what people love is consistency. They love to say, like, yeah, and in 6 months, another one. That's why we do a once-a-year podcast, because we're like, people love anticipation.
You got to eventize it. And also, like, day-to-day kids don't change that much.
No.
But 6 months to 6 months, it's like that's a whole different human.
I might finally have something interesting to say about my child.
Same thing can be said of watching Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, which we do every Thanksgiving for our show Till Death Do Us Blart. You really you change your perspective and you forget the jokes that you made about it the year before. So you end up repeating jokes. We've done it, what, Trav, twice now?
No, I think we've done three.
We've done 3 episodes, and we've made some of the same jokes in every episode, so it's great.
Yes. And then we try to recall jokes we made in the last episode and can't remember why we
folks. It's good audio. I'm here to tell you.
You know what you're not going to do? You're not going to watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 again and then listen to 3 podcasts to see which jokes you made. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But also, it will have been a year since I listened to the podcast, and so I will also have forgot you made those jokes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
As long as go back to the subject of PodCon and podcast scrambles. I felt like that was a really exciting part of PodCon, and kind of part of the whole ethos of it is this idea of bringing together people that work. The problem with podcasting that we've confronted in our how long have we been doing this, Jeffrey? 10,
6 years? 10, 20 years. Yeah.
It's a really it's a very solitary thing. You kind of make your podcast at home and you like see other podcasters doing their thing, but they're probably in a completely different state, and so you don't really get to have that community. And so having this thing where you pair up random podcast hosts and have them try and create a new podcast together, I thought was this really exciting way of playing to that community that doesn't get to see each other very much. It was one of my favorite parts of PodCon.
I will also say I'm very, to keep kind of plugging our product, which is why we're here. I'm so incredibly excited about some of the shows that we have coming this year. That we have a lot of return people, which is very exciting to me. But like Hello from the Magic Tavern is coming, which is one of my favorites. The Broadswords, which is quickly becoming my favorite actual play podcast, is going to be there. Like, we've got a lot of really exciting stuff, and I'm pretty excited. And I'm also hoping that we can add even more. It's the kind of thing where I want people to look at this and be like, that's too many podcasts. What are they trying to prove? A phrase previously reserved for the McElroys and only us. That's too many podcasts. What are they trying to prove?
I want to tell everybody about the people who have signed up to PodCon in the last 5 minutes. That includes Justin McElroy. Justin McElroy, thank you for buying a ticket to PodCon.
Sorry, I forgot until now.
Oh, well, now I need to do it.
That's Justin McElroy, and then in parentheses, sorry. So,
Justin, what level did you sign up for?
Listen, a gentleman such as myself never divulges how much he donates to the thing he's the founder of.
I mean, it's public information. If you go on the backers list, it says right there.
Okay, I'm gonna go check out how generous Justin is.
Jazzy also signed up and will be joining us in Seattle. So will Lisa. Katie got their digital attendance, and so did Sarah. So those people will get popped into their podcast feed of choice, a password protected feed that will allow them to attend PodCon digitally. All of the things that we do will be recorded and then released on that feed. Kate, thank you. Will also be joining us in real life. And Aaron got the Night Vale discography. Thank you, Aaron.
Nice.
And I'm up to 451 clicks on McRoy PodCon 2. So if you want to go to bit.ly/McRoy PodCon 2, support our Indiegogo, I sure would appreciate it.
Okay, I'm doing it right now just for you.
Thank you. Help me get those clicks. I just need that SEO.
That's how it
I'm
works.
not 100% sure what SEO is.
Or yeah, we just hit 40%, and we are up above 1,000 backers. We're substantially past where we were at this point in the campaign last year, which is great news.
Something.
It's also something.
And you know,
I can't remember if I've already supported or not, so I'm going to do it again. Just in case. I just like to hear my name read on a thing, even if it's a thing I'm already on and you already said my name.
and you could say your own name.
Yeah, I can just say it a bunch, but what does that matter, you know?
Asha has done the research and found that Justin got $250. Big spender in all caps.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that because I was about to do half that. And I felt like a real turd. Thank you.
I'm not certain, but I assume some portion of that goes back to me. I can't be certain.
I can't remember the contract Hank made me sign.
Some. It won't be much. And a number of people are very excited about people in the and I'm a little overwhelmed. Justin, how often do you get people yelling at you to acknowledge them as your son? Is that a normal thing, or is that like unusual and you'd like to put an end to it as quickly as possible?
It is, if reply all is to be believed, it is I heard on a yes no there that it is a term of affection for people that is it is mimetic, and it is not meant to be a legally binding sort of contract of parentage. I think it is just a way of showing appreciation for an elderly performer such as myself.
Reply all would be a good get. How much more money above the 300,000 do we need to raise to get reply all there? Like 325,000, 600,000? How expensive are they?
I don't think that it doesn't appear to be that the thing holding reply all back at the moment is money, but they are we have talked to them, and they do like the idea of the event. So
I just spent a subway ride recently with one of them, really trying to strong arm him into bringing the show. So we'll see if my strong arming works.
Okay, I'm just gonna read through my podcast subscriptions now and see.
Here's the show. Here's the Gimlet. If we're gonna bring one Gimlet show, I want to bring Chompers, which is the show that airs every morning and evening. It's a 2-minute long show for kids to brush their teeth to.
I had this idea. I wrote it down and everything.
Should have gotten on it.
Too slow.
Hank. Alex Bloomberg snuck right up in there and chomped
for
your
adults.
flavor.
I'm doing the adults version. It's called just teeth, because it's not special word for chompers because we're adults now. Called Teeth, and it's got a bunch of news about Donald Trump. And
I don't think I would even enjoy that.
Well, now hold on, Hank. I feel like that took a weird turn.
Just to get you relaxed before bed.
These in adult chompers, every toothbrush counts. My daughter's gonna lose all these fucking teeth. Like at some point, I'm surprised on chompers they're not like, what was the point? We just did that. Who cares? Let them rot.
Wait till the adult come in.
I'm glad you literally just fought her for 15 fucking minutes to brush these teeth that are gonna rot out of her head anyway and fall out. When the adult chompers, it counts. Every toothbrush counts. These are the last ones I get.
I want to update everybody. Sarah has gotten the remote attendance to this year, but also last year. So you can get last year's PodCon. And Hannah just did that as well. Tyler just got remote attendance to next year. And I think maybe possibly Jacob, it's unclear, is going to be joining us in in Seattle, as well as Travis McElroy, who also bought the $250 perk.
I don't want to brag, but I'm at least as rich as Justin.
You guys basically get paid the same amounts at the same time.
I'm up to 482 clicks, just in case.
Hey, Hank, is there a chat where people are madly asking us questions that I can look at and peruse?
Yeah, we sent you a link to it on the emails if you want to.
Yeah,
look.
Justin, we sent you a link.
Did you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joseph Fink. You're about to lecture me about email responsiveness. Let's do it.
Galerius just asked a burning question. Are these the McElroy brothers?
Are you fucking with me right now? That's what I've tried to put a Chiron on with Google Hangouts at the bottom to distinguish myself, and it's not working.
Well, there is a McElroy brother. There are two McElroy brothers of the three we've got in the room. That's who they are. Two of them, and the other two are Night Vale brothers.
Yeah, we have Travis and Jeffrey from the McElroys.
I kind of was joking, but I am curious now. Like, what would be like your like super cool get for like PodCon? If you could...
Well, Elizabeth has one. Says Justin, get Chuck Tingle.
Chuck Tingle's podcast.
Chuck?
Yes. Well, not personally. He's a mysterious cat. His podcast is having other people read his stories. It's a man. I wish I'd come up with a format that's just get other people to record my podcast for me. Man, I'm fucking smooth. Oh, I'd do anything. But he has people that he communicates through. He did send me one email, and then after that, I never communicated with Chuck Tingle again. Because he's,
we're not going to get Chuck at the event.
I will say that Chuck Tingle is a Night Vale Presents podcast. So if you would like to get in touch with Chuck Tingle, I do maybe know some ways to do that.
Yeah, maybe Jeffrey and Joseph might be a better choice.
Here is the email that I got from Chuck Tingle.
Conversations with people who hate me is coming.
Here's the email I got from Chuck Tingle that asked me to be on their show. Hello, this is Dr. Chuck Tingle. I've heard from online buds that we have a similar way of talking, so I think that is very nice. I think maybe we could be online buds too, maybe even reverse twins. Who knows? So anyway, I'm emailing about coming on the Big Time Podcast Show. I've told Buckaroos at Night Vale to email. They will probably do that very soon anyway. Thank you for proving love and saying yes to this. Way it sounds like it will be fun. You make books real. And make love kiss the sky, Chuck.
And you didn't respond to that?
What? Are you kidding me? Yes, I responded, but then the fine folks at Night Vale swooped in and handled the rest of the transactions of audio and guidance. So.
If you all want to hear Justin read a beautiful Tingler about a sentient, handsome Tide Pod, it is available now on the Pounded in the Butt by my own podcast stream.
What was the exact title of that story? Yeah. It was very good. It was Slammed in the Butt by my handsome laundry detergent pod. It's a very good Tingler.
Yeah. It's nice to have to get clean.
I read it to my wife on the show. I read it to my wife.
I love that.
Daughter. It was really funny.
It was so good.
I listened to that one myself while walking around town with my infant son. No one knew what was happening in here while that was happening out there. That's the great thing about podcasts. No one knows when you're listening to a Tingler or when you're listening to Serial. If everybody's going to look up Chuck Tingle's podcast, do be aware that it is graphic pornography.
It's called Pounded in the Butt by my own podcast. Like, just listen to that. Like, I bet that's about flower arrangements. Like, yeah, come on.
You never know.
I have someone I think we should ask, but should I save that for like off mic and tell you later?
Someone we should ask to PodCon?
Yeah.
Or to do a Tingler?
Well, I mean, frankly, she would be great at both.
Go ahead.
Cristela Alonso. She's on Bubble. She also has her own podcast called To Be Continued. And she was also the voice of Cruz Rivera in Cars 3. And she's great.
Yes.
Is this part of it? Does this have anything to do with trolls?
No.
Does that not get related to that? I don't know. Voice actors maybe all know each other.
I'm not a voice actor. I'm the only McRae who has not been paid to do any voice acting ever.
That's too bad. You have a beautiful voice.
It's weird.
Darby wants to know if we can get Matt Doyle. Can we get Matt Doyle? A podcast?
Probably.
And you guys know Matt Doyle now? Are you connected?
We follow each other on Twitter. It's no big deal.
And she had a TV show. Yes, thank you, chat.
Oh, she had it. How do you spell this person's name so I can write it down?
Cristela, Cristela, Alonzo, Alonzo.
Thank you.
I was very
And
excited.
she's a stand-up comedian. She is all around amazing. Go on.
I didn't know this was happening, but I was really excited to see we announced Nancy was coming.
Yes.
Nancy is a really, really exciting podcast, and that's a very cool one to have.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so good. They're like intro podcast. I had never listened to it until recently, where you listen to like it's the podcast trailer. It's the funniest thing. It's called Gadio Lab, and they remake the intro to Radio Lab, and it's just so adorable. I love it so much. So check out the intro to Nancy, and then actually listen to some episodes of it. I would like to inform you that Colin will be joining us in Seattle. I forgot what the place is, but thank you, Colin. Are you in the room listening to us now? Amelia will also be joining us, but like big time, is getting. I think will be hanging out with us for the pizza party. So thank you, Amelia. Let's have pizza together. We've also got Danielle and Joe and Jennifer and Danielle again and Allie and Darby, who will also be getting some amount of supporting of PodCon. So thanks. This is going well. Look at us.
I'm up to 492 clicks, just in case you're wondering.
Nice.
Keeping us updated.
Just to address one of the comments in the chat, thank you for complimenting my headphones. I appreciate it.
They do look very fancy.
They're master and dynamic. I got Travis a pair. He kind of alternates. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not using them right now.
The problem is I break everything because A, my giant head, and B, I'm kind of a Shrek. So
kind of a Shrek.
I
once thought they were broken. I'm going to take these off for a second so I can show you something. I once thought they were broken for about 3 days, and I got as far with the customer service representatives as like printing out a label and what have you. But then I noticed this button.
Mm-hmm.
It's a button that mutes your headphones and makes them stop working. Have a good laugh. Why in the fuck would you have a button that turns your product into a paperweight? I'll just take them off. Like, why am I muting them? It's like it's this world where like I don't want to hear anything out of these, but I don't want to hear anything outside of them either because I'm not taking them off. So I just want to be in like stasis, and I need a button to activate this functionality.
I will say along the same line, the plus a positive of those headphones, they have plugs on both sides, so you can chain headphones together.
Oh,
yeah,
fancy.
Weird. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, see,
My
these are the
headphones
kinds of things you'll learn at
normal.
PodCon.
A number of people have suggested the Spirits podcast. I'm a big fan of Spirits, and I think that Amanda is going to be there already because she's a fan of PodCon. So maybe that will just happen in one way or another. That's exciting.
Someone on the chat wants you, Hank, to talk them through what the pizza party is.
Yeah, so
it's bread, sauce, and then you eat a bunch of it.
Then way too much. For the people who have support PodCon, I think it's $500. That allows us to do a number of things. Like it helps us pay for somebody's hotel room or fly somebody out. And so in thanks for that level of support, there's a number of things that you get, but then the last thing tacked on there is you get to come to a pizza party with our guests. Not everybody will show up probably, but I'll be there. And it's, it's enough people. It's a small enough group of people that people get to chat with each other, and the pizza was actually pretty good. I remember being very hungry as my primary memories, but also being very hungry and also talking to a bunch of people about cool stuff.
Yes.
It was fun.
Although I will admit, last year, BB much less mobile than she is this year. I don't know how much talking I'll be able to do to other human beings, so much as I'll just be chasing a pizza-covered daughter around.
Oh God, I love. I don't know that Oren will come to the pizza party.
I don't think I could stop BB from coming to a pizza party. She's stronger than I am now, Hank. She's stronger. She's faster. She's smarter. I can no longer control my child.
Yeah, the moment when like if the baby doesn't want the diaper changed, the diaper doesn't get changed. I don't like that. I don't like
that. Doesn't happen because she just enjoys humiliating me. She likes. My baby's just a big old bully.
Let's talk about the podcast that definitely won't be a PodCon. Either like ones that we like, but we won't ask and wouldn't be welcome.
Well, for sure,
if they did come. Like ones that now here's the thing that we like, but would be barred from attending if they did show up at the door.
Thrilling Adventure Hour, not invited.
Not invited.
You're out, all of you. Paul F. Thompson,
the Indoor Kids,
eat it.
Not invited.
Indoor Kids, not invited.
Dead Authors Podcast, not invited.
Malcolm Gladwell. Would we let Malcolm Gladwell do his thing?
No, absolutely not. He's not a podcaster.
He gets to do an episode of his podcast, but he can't research it at all before starting. He has to just like do it on the fly with things he sees in the room. Just
if we could figure out a way to make Malcolm Gladwell and Roman Mars go head to head, I don't know what that would look like, but some kind of amp to amp, like informative podcast.
Oh, I thought you were describing like a charity boxing match type thing.
No,
sure, yeah.
No, are you kidding? Roman Mars is beef. Like that dude has been doing like physical, like he has been training for the last like 3 years. He is he just talked about how much he loved the movie Skyscraper, and like everybody who works for 99% Invisible went and saw Skyscraper together, and he was like, I would like to be in Skyscraper too. And somebody was like, I don't think so, nerd. And he like posted pictures of himself shirtless, and it's like, oh fuck, yeah, no, Roman Mars should be in Skyscraper too. Anyways, I'll talk to Roman about that at PodCon. I'll have him pose for everyone.
Someone suggested a Wii Sports match. Is there a way? Because I feel like Malcolm Gladwell is okay to have come as long as he plays Wii Sports with Roman Mars on stage.
Yeah, we can have him come, but he can't talk about anything informative.
No, absolutely not.
There is that. I listened to Malcolm, friend of the family, Malcolm Gladwell's podcast, Revisionist History. I've been listening to a lot. He is like one of the seasons of his show is like 80% about race relations and income disparity in this country. And then he does one episode that's like, McDonald's changed their fucking frying method for fries. Let's talk about it for an hour. It's like, this is a hard total shift, my man. Are you sure? And he's like, yes, it's a tragedy. Let's do this. Like, all right, I'm on board for it, but still, are you sure? He was sure. He didn't spend the next hour bemoaning that.
We've had a huge string of people getting digital attendance to PodCon. So I just want to say thanks to all the remote attendees. If you get this now, it's 25% off what it's going to cost after the campaign happens. So I very much appreciate that from Anonymous, also Josh, Ozzy, Allison, Anonymous again. I don't know why you guys are being so shy. Darby, Allie, and Danielle. Thank you for your contributions and your help, and you're pushing us forward. And now we have had 1,079 backers, everyone. We should just live stream all the time. It's
sure.
Well, I'm up to 501 clicks, so
great.
He knows what the real currency is.
Yeah.
Are we not allowed to get off till you get to 1,000 clicks? Is that the deal?
That's correct.
Oh crap!
Oh, good. I'm so glad we've established that rule now. Why were we telling a bunch of really great podcasters that they can't come to PodCon? What was the logic behind that?
To like rule it out some. to limit the scope and expectation.
For me, it was about pettiness, really.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'd love to have Critical Role there, but I think they're bigger than Venture Sound, like by far. So, like, no.
Okay, I know that we definitely won't have there. Our friend and showrunner of the Mabim Bam show, JD Amato, does a show with Connor Ratliff called 12-Hour Day, and that is a show that they record for 12 hours straight and then release 12-hour episodes. And I don't think that would make sense in our format. I can say that concretely.
Yeah, that's intense and terrible.
No, it's good. Oh, you know what's good is Everything Is Alive. Did you guys listen to that yet?
No.
It's really good. It's on Radiotopia. It is a show where they interview inanimate objects and have like different performers like performing them. The most recent episode was an interview with a lamppost. And the one before that was an interview with a generic can of soda. And it is Maeve Higgins was the lamppost.
How long does this last for?
Like 20 to 25 minutes. And you just kind of hear about the world from the perspective of a generic can of soda or a lamppost.
Like it a lot.
And they really commit to the gag. And it is a delight. It's called Everything is Alive. It's very good.
I would like to be a sidewalk on that show.
Okay. Well, it's not really about people's individual kinks. It's more kind of an improv comedy thing, but that's fine, Hank. I'm sure we could get you to work that out.
Thanks.
One thing that I'm seeing in the chat is talk about all the audio fiction that are going to be there. That's really exciting for me. That's definitely something I always push for because I think it's a really exciting part of podcasting that often gets overlooked. So we have a number of featured guests who are audio fiction, and then we also have, I think, just a ton of fiction people coming. They just bought tickets. I saw like the Greater Boston People is a really excellent fiction show that I think.
Hey Joseph, why do you think that is? Why do you think that, like, if we can talk about meta podcasting, why do you think that is? Because I think that would be terrifying to make. I think it would be so hard to do, so much harder than what we, by we I mean like not the Night Vale folks, because y'all do scripted narrative stuff. Why do you think that gets overlooked in the conversation a lot of times?
That's a really good question that I've been trying to. It's a problem I've been trying to solve. It turns out hectoring reviewers doesn't help because I've tried that. I don't know. I think it's podcasts started out as either like This American Life and things that sounded like it, or comedians talking to each other, and those were kind of, I mean, there was other niche stuff, technology and stuff, but in terms of the big ones, and I think it kind of froze in people's brains that way. And so even though there's huge audiences for stuff like Night Vale or the Adventure Zone, I think people who write about podcasts from the outside, that hasn't caught up to them, and so they just, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Not entropy, where
Stasis?
I don't know. I guess it just takes
Atrophy.
a long time for maybe doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what word I was incorrectly trying to think of. The point is, it's just like big ships turn really slowly. So like outside podcast journalism and in larger media sources, it takes them a long time to notice that people are listening to fiction shows now.
Somebody in the chat said hello from the Magic Tavern. They are going to be there.
They are.
What?
Go, bit.ly/McElroy PodCon 2. You can see all the amazing guests that we have confirmed so far and support our Indiegogo.
Like Kai just did 2 minutes ago. Thank you, Kai. We'll see you in Seattle, as we will also see Tori. Thank you, Tori and Sarah, Emmeline, Sarah, Diana. You got that remote attendance, so thank you very much for doing that.
Let me see. I can just read off who we have right now confirmed.
And
My brother, me.
I'll rate
What?
each one.
Okay. my brother, and me.
10.
Okay. Oh no, Ross and Carrie.
7.
One of my favorite podcasts.
I just got to do an episode with them. Not only is it an amazing podcast, they are incredibly lovely people. Welcome to Night Vale.
Early on, 9. 8, later years. Also, retroactively apply that to my brother.
Yeah, okay.
I met Ross and Carrie at a bar in LA and just tried to like insinuate my way into being invited as a guest, and it didn't work. So I'm just
tell them.
I guess just like envious of you, Travis, is what I'm saying.
That's fair. A lot of people are. Next is The Stoop.
I'm excited about these two. They're really great. It's a really great show.
15.
15. Great.
Whoa, wait, what's the scale?
What?
Okay.
Yeah,
it's 1 to 100. We're getting very low right now.
Should have mentioned that.
Analyze this.
Ooh, Hannah Hart and Hannah Gelb
I'm
to
excited about
analyze
that.
you.
Excited to see the Hannah Hart again.
I've never met Hannah, and I'm very excited about it. I think we will get along well. That's a weird thing to say. I realize now. 99% invisible.
99.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Also, Roman and I's second episode of our Untitled Doom Tree. I think it has a title. I don't remember what it's called.
Presumably, Smart Stuff Part 3 will also take place.
Oh,
We've not
shit.
discussed
That's
it.
maybe the podcast I'm most excited about at podcast.
Me too. It's one of my faves. Alice isn't dead.
Technically, we'll be there. I think there's not going to be like a live show this year, but
They will be
I will be
represented.
there, and I write it.
Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Awesome.
It's I love that show so much,
It's so
y'all.
good.
Like
it's
I
like
wish I
my
could
it's totally my
steal it.
comfort food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could
Yeah.
see the format. It's a fun idea.
I got to be on it a couple times now, and it's one of my favorite like recording sessions because especially the ones in studio. I just did a live show with them, but in studio, like the quite often look of panic in Arnie's eyes is very satisfying. The broadswords. Yeah, so I love the broadswords very much. It is a very good actual play D&D podcast. One, they are amazing players and like DMs and stuff, but also like they do like really good sound design and really amazing like story. And not only that, if nothing else, and you should love them because of how talented they are, but also they are an inspiration because they have episodes recorded 6 months out. Like I guested on a show in May, and they were like, "Okay, that airs in September," and I was like, "What? How do you do that?"
I give them a 3. Just because I find that extremely threatening. Everything you just said, I find extremely threatening.
Just
So that's a
scary,
3.
just terrifying.
Now, question mark is up next. What's the story there?
Sometimes you're trying to make a grid and you don't have enough podcast logos to fit the grid. And so you're like, there will be more in the future, says the guy who makes that graphic.
Whoever he may be, the hardworking individual.
Conversations with people who hate me. This is one of my favorite like concepts for a thing
Yeah, jeez.
ever. Because
Dylan is. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's not at all what you would think it. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, so it's gonna be like him calling and getting into it and tearing into this person and it's like amazingly, I don't know, evocative and thought provoking. It's really great.
Yeah, Dylan is one of my absolute favorite peoples. He literally married my wife and I.
So you're like all three married?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a group.
We do
But
things differently in Night Vale Presents. It's a very different set of rules here.
in order to join the network, you do have to marry someone in the network. So it could turn into this complicated web. But Dylan in this year has really started doing something very exciting because he started out talking to people that sent him hateful messages. And he, as you say, he practices what I would describe as like radical kindness. Like he approaches people with just this disarming empathy. But this year he's also started moderating conversations between people. For instance, this year he did a conversation between a trans Marine member and a Marine who was what's the word I'm looking for? Out and gay. And so, but who was against the trans, or who was, my thoughts are not working well. It was a gay Marine who was for the trans ban talking to a trans Marine. And that was a super interesting conversation. He's hosted conversations about civility, kind of the whole question of civility between people on different sides of that issue. He's basically, I think, the next Ellen. So I'm just happy to have known him before before he gets too famous for me to like make eye contact with him.
Dear Hank and John. Now, what's this one? What does anyone know?
It's like three brothers, dubious advice, answering questions. They do a segment where there's fast food press releases,
Okay.
and then there's like a whole like weird scary doll thing.
Someone in the chat asks, why do they even have a live chat room if they're not going to respond to the tramp? And I would just like to say, if there are any tramps in the chat that would like to ask questions or whatever, we're here for you.
Tramp.
You're heard and seen. Tramps, hobos, whoever, whatever.
Also,
I'd love
if
to hear all
there-
your river stories
I'm-
and your
I'm
rail
seeing-
tales.
And if you'd like to if you're in Missoula, you want to come by for a quick shower, our door is always open. People who are
Play the
giving,
biscuits.
people who are giving super chats to me, where you give me money in order for your chat to be highlighted, that's nice, but that money goes to just me, not the PodCon campaign. So
Whoa,
just so you know
definitely.
that's just my money now.
Okay, I'll move through the rest of them a little quicker so that we can talk to the chat a little bit more. Anthropocene reviewed. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's John's podcast in which he reviews elements of human creation, or things that have been influenced by humans, like Diet Dr. Pepper. He has a review of. He's got a review of Canadian geese. He has a lot of strong opinions on those, and etc.
The Adventure Zone is going to be there. The Bright Sessions are going to be there. Sawbones is going to be there.
Woo!
This, which is Hank's podcast with his wife Catherine, which is a delight. The Big Loop. Now I don't recognize that. What's the Big Loop?
The big loop
That's,
is yeah, you do it.
That's Paul Bay, who is one of the creators of the Black Tapes. That's his it's another fiction show. It's a similar-ish tone to the Black Tapes in that it's kind of creepy, but it's all standalone stories. So each
Ooh,
episode.
okay. The Black Tapes are going to be there. Still Buffering is going to be there. Nancy is going to be there. Punch Up the Jam. And as it says,
I'm so excited to meet them.
it says here, more to come, which will happen with your help.
Hank, have you found it challenging? Since we mentioned delete this, have you found it challenging to record a podcast with the other person that watches your kids? I've found that to be now, especially though we have a lot of kids.
Well,
It's like, oh no, both of us were recording this. We can't watch children.
Well, I have far fewer children than you, and he is currently the size child that from like 6:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning, he basically doesn't exist.
I can't imagine. I mean, I would do anything. I would pay any price for that amount of sleep. Anything, I'd do anything.
Well, you could get like a live-in nanny. That's a price you could pay. And they could just and you go in the other house. You need two houses.
You broke up for a second. Did you give him a ton of Benadryl? Because I tried that and it just amps it more. It's wild.
How many clicks? Somebody asked in the chat how many clicks. Sorry to interrupt. Just gotta keep. We're at 528, doing great. At this pace, we'll just be here until like 9 p.m. So,
I mean, giving the live stream the power to keep us here was a mistake. Maybe.
I kind of want to do. I just saw somebody in the chat say something about how to clean a microwave, and I just thought a really good one-off podcast at PodCon would be like how to clean things. And it's just like you pick like I don't know how to clean like a cast iron skillet. And it's just like okay, this seems a little counterintuitive, but I'm like just talk about cleaning hard to clean items. Now I think that's just a fascinating podcast. As I say, I gotta go. TM. It's fine.
Well, we can't even do it. But if anybody has good ideas for our podcast scrambles, our one-offs where we put two sort of unrelated creators on a stage together and they get to make a podcast about a thing that is only ever going to have one episode, unless apparently you get really devoted to it, like the Doomtree podcast. I love everybody always has ideas for podcasts. We have too many of them, and so this is an opportunity to sort of get it out of your brain, and it's gonna be a thing, and you can move on.
And you guys, Hank, Travis, and Justin, you all didn't do one last year. I think I would encourage you to jump into the podcast Scramble.
Much want to.
So much fun.
I think it would be really dangerous if Adel and I did one together, but I also think it would be really fun if Adel and I did one together.
I am so terrified of my just basic inadequate, like how unqualified I am to be in this conversation and at this conference. I'm so afraid with every new project that I'll reveal that, and in that sort of live setting seems primed to just let my complete ineptitude shine through. It's terrifying to me.
Sometimes doing things you're afraid of are really good, and then sometimes doing things you're afraid of are terrible because you're afraid for a good reason.
It's up front. If somebody would tell you which kind it was, that would be so nice.
If only there was a way, like halfway through, if you could be like, you know what? Only now do I realize this was the kind of afraid of I didn't need to do. So I'm taking this exit. And you just like walk off the stage. And everyone's like, I accept this. Yes, of course. You're very
The
brave.
fun thing with a podcast scramble for me is, and I hope we keep this, is that you don't get to choose who you're paired with. Like, that's sort of the fun, is you just end up with someone and it's on you guys to figure out how to make something. I'm a big fan of letting go of control as an artist. I think that's really interesting. Other people are less of a fan of that.
Sylvia had a good suggestion. So if somebody put me together with someone else and the podcast was called Talk About Eggs, I could totally do that podcast. I could talk about eggs for like 5 episodes at least.
What do you think about eggs, Hank?
I love eggs now, but I did not like eggs until I turned about 32 years old, which is really like, I don't really get that. And I think that I made what? I think it was partially that like I had poorly prepared eggs. And that I like a specific kind of egg, and they are definitely not scrambled, and also that they should definitely have butter involved with them. And I think that no one had taught me that or given me that in a way that really worked with who I am as a person.
It's beautiful.
I also like to always remember that like everybody has eggs, and that like everybody came from eggs. And I also like to think about how
it was beautiful, and now it's just getting fucking weird.
And I also like to think about how big an egg is and how small a chicken is and how crazy that is that they can do that every day.
Okay, you're
what
weird.
do you think the best way to scramble eggs is?
I don't know that it's a good idea.
How could it not be a good idea to add butter and dairy fat to something?
I don't think it's a good idea to scramble eggs. I think that you should let them be the way that I don't think you should
put them
I don't think you should destroy them that way.
But
it's a great point, because if you leave a carton of eggs in your fridge long enough, those are gonna turn into chickens, and then you got 12 egg machines. Have a little foresight, people.
I just don't like scrambled eggs, you guys. I like over medium, over easy eggs. I like a fried egg.
What about a poached?
Do you like
an eggs
poached
Benedict?
eggs? I like boiled eggs. I like eggs Benedict. I like eggs Florentine. I like eggs. I like the one where they're cut in half and there's mayonnaise in the yolks and they put their yolks back in.
It's so weird because the scrambled egg is the gateway egg, right?
Yeah.
Like people.
That's why I never liked eggs, because everybody was like, "Here's eggs," and I was like, "This is bad." See, this is a great podcast, you guys.
You gotta make them right. You gotta scramble them right. There's only one way to scramble them. I'm not gonna reveal it to you here. You gotta come to PodCon. I will say this:
electric mixer.
The over easy is baffling to me, because like, do you want these eggs cooked or not? It's it's like you said, like, I don't want to cook all of them. Why not? They're eggs. You should probably cook them. That's wild. Salmonella.
I think we're getting way too deep into Justin and my podcast Scramble.
Yeah, what you do is you put a cold pan,
eggs.
you put in 2 eggs and a butter.
No, don't give it away. It's gonna be a perk on the PodCon site.
Did you ever read that Stephen King book? I forget which one it was, but one of his classic books from the, I think it was late 70s, early 80s. He just stops the story for about a page to explain how to cook scrambled eggs, and I'm not joking. He has like a lot of opinions about how to scramble eggs. He has
we were going to talk about Wizard and Glass, where he stops the story for an entire book. Another story.
I want to say it's the Dead Zone. I think the Dead Zone. There's just a page where the character's like, "Here's my recipe for scrambling eggs." That's been your Stephen King factoid. PodCon 2 is going to be a really good time. And,
it's going to be like this, but like with way more and cooler people than us.
Mm-hmm. I would like to say one last kind of pitch thing that I think is very important.
Okay.
So if you're watching this, you probably already like follow us or follow PodCon, or maybe even went to PodCon last year. And so it's amazing that you're watching this, and that for everyone who's supported the Indiegogo so far, that's great. But we need you to then go tell other people like, hey, this thing is super amazing and you should totally support it. Here is why, and point them towards the link and that kind of thing. That's step 2 of the process, and that's like a super important step. Even if you only have like one friend that you think would like it, tell them, and don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
do take no for an answer.
One, tell them, and then just hound them forever. Is that the thing that we're asking for?
Just keep whispering to them. bit.ly/McElroy-PodCon2.
What's our count?
Good question. Let me tell you. We're at
I'm click farming it right now.
541.
And if you want to leave those clicks, go click now. It's your last chance. We're at 1,095 backers right now, and if we get to 1,000, that would be really great. So this is like your last chance, in which we'll be able to announce your name. Like Johan, thank you. Less than a minute ago with your contribution. Mumba, thank you. And Meredith and Amanda and Marissa and Tiffany and Kyra, you guys, thank you. Thank you for your most remote attendances.
Also, we ruined the chat. It's now just eggs for like there's about like 100 messages about eggs now.
People have strong opinions about eggs. I think it would be a good podcast. Thank you, Sylvia.
And you could just call it Eggs is Eggs.
Well, we could call it Podcast Scramble.
Oh, that works too. Scramble podcast on the podcast Scramble.
Green eggs and Hank, someone said, which is very
that's very good.
Very good.
From someone named Lana Banana.
Oh,
lots of great names all over the place.
Even better.
Oren really likes bananas and eggs, and I just can't handle
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've made Jillian and I have made a banana omelet before. It's actually pretty good. You do have to put some sugar in it.
You know what I like? Frugal Gourmet does this with an omelet with apples that you fry up in a little bit of whiskey.
Oh yeah,
it's good. It's good stuff. Frugal Gourmet has had some dark times as well in his sort of background, but he does know his business with apples and eggs. Let it not be said otherwise. Also, perhaps not a good human being, but good at cooking eggs.
Thank you, Bridget. We've got another 1 minute to go. Really, we only got a minute left. So if you're not on your way to checking out, you're not going to get announced. So I guess I probably shouldn't have told you that. Oh my God, Mish just gave us $300.
Hey, yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Oh, dope.
That is dope.
I'm very excited that we've picked up about $3,500 in the last hour. That's very good.
That's a really big day for us. That's a big day for us, you guys.
It's really exciting.
It's very exciting. Y'all watch Mission Impossible yet? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. You think that was good?
It's good. It's not. Nothing will ever be Mission Impossible 4 again, and that makes me a little sad. But it was fine.
Is Mission Impossible 4 the best of the missions?
Oh, by a lot. Yeah,
okay.
It's the one that was directed by Brad Bird. So it's just significantly noticed.
I should go enjoy it tonight. I have free time to watch Mission Impossible during that 6:30 to 6:30 period. Oh man, I got to enjoy it while I can, huh, Justin?
I don't know. I have a lot of kids. They'll never sleep at the same time ever again. They'll never all sleep at the same moment.
I am not saying Justin doesn't have many kids. I like that Justin's a lot of kids is 2.
It is
like there
a lot of kids.
That's a lot
of kids.
That's a lot. That's a lot to ask of any person. We just hit 1,100 backers, which is a great thing because we also just hit 3:01, and so it's time for the podcast to be over. But this isn't a podcast, but I guess what is a podcast even? So maybe it is.
God, that's
and that will be answered at PodCon too.
Thank you to Andrea, Victoria, Kirsten, and Fancy for being our final backers of this stream. You're all so great, and thank you to all the boys here for hanging out and chatting. It was a really good time because you're all silly people.
We're at 560 clicks, just in case anyone was wondering.
Oh yeah.
I like the part where it cut out the C noise because there was some kind of garble, and so you said it was 560 licks.
That's how many it takes to get to PodCon. Somebody asked the campaign. We got like 13 days left of the campaign.
13 days left on the campaign. I really wish I had just stopped the broadcast right when you said PodCon, but I guess I didn't do that. Thank you, everyone. And check it out at bit.ly/McElroy PodCon 2 for more information. You're the best.